Hey y'all, it's Sam. Welcome back to another TBR calendar game. It's almost April, which means it's time to play my TBR game again to choose my TBR for the month. I actually still don't have a name for this TBR game. I'm just calling it like the calendar game right now, which I'm not in love with. So if you have any ideas for a good TBR game, let me know in the comments because I would absolutely love some ideas. I have made a pretty big change for April and I think it's gonna have some pros and cons, but basically I only own one camera and I use my phone for all of the random number generators and spinning wheels and different things throughout the game, so I can't use my phone to film either. And trying to switch back and forth between like having the camera pointed at the game and then having the camera pointed at me and after each roll, it was so annoying last time and it was way too much. So I have decided that going forward, at least for now, I'm going to film the whole game at once and do all the rolls, get all the prompts, and then choose the TBR from there and film like this so that all of my books are chosen and I'm not having to go back and forth between rolling and playing the game and then choosing books and moving the camera everywhere throughout the whole thing. It was just way too hectic of a process. So I think it might lessen a little bit of the challenge because I am choosing all of my books based off of all of the prompts at the end, but you do what you gotta do. That being said, I am still keeping my rule that once I choose a book for my TBR, I can't change my mind later. So even though I am kind of choosing all of the books at once, so that means that I do kind of have an idea in my head of what all of the prompts are, which might make me choose things a little bit more carefully. Once I've set my TBR, I still can't change it. So I think that'll keep a lot of the challenge aspect. And as you'll see when we play this game, because I did play it last night and film it, there is a lot of challenge to this particular game, so I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I have also added a punishment feature for this game for when I don't finish my monthly TBR, so you will see that come into play in this game because definitely did not finish my March TBR. The other major thing happening in April is I decided to join a readathon. So Covers with Cassidy here on YouTube is doing a new readathon for the month of April that is called Realmathon. She created this readathon where there are 4 different realms that are basically competing all month long based on what books we're reading and different prompts, and everybody's put on a different team, and it sounds super fun. It's very fantasy based, but the prompts are open enough that like you can read other things. So I did try to choose a lot of my books based off of things that would fit those prompts fairly well. I joined the realm Bale, which is the subgenre of fantasy romance, so I think that'll be really good for me because something that I really like to read. So I did try to choose as much fantasy romance as I could this month. So we will see quite a bit of that and I am very excited. So let's play the game. Okay, so here we are. So we have some new rules, as I mentioned. We're just changing a few little things. Someone suggested that instead of rolling like a million die each time that I use a random number generator to decide which spaces these little dots end up on. So that's what we're gonna do. We're still gonna roll the die for how many we need, but then we will just use a random number generator app to determine which spaces they go on. We'll kind of see how it goes. I have also added a punishment feature. So if I don't finish a book on my TBR, I have to roll or spin a little wheel with some punishment things on it. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to start by putting the dots on here. We'll do the punishment wheel because I did not finish my TBR for March. And then we will go from there. So as always, we're going to start with the red dots. So we're going to roll one die to see how many red dots we need, which are the hard prompts. Okay, that was this one. So we need 6 hard prompts. That is a lot to start off with. Awesome, cool. Okay, so then I will pull up my random number generator. All right, random number generator. Okay, so our minimum is going to be 1, and then the maximum will be 29 because 30 has its own separate wheel, so we don't want to go as high as 30. So first place we need to put a red dot is spot 19. All right, so we'll take the red dot. We'll put it on 19. We'll hit it again. Oh, There are ads in this. Lovely. Alright, so the next spot we got was 21. Okay, so we'll put a dot on 21. Next spot, 9. Okay. We already got 19, so we'll try it again. 18. Okay, so this is going to be a really awful line to get through. 16. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need one more. We already got 18. Already got 19. Already got 16. 24. Okay, that's at least something different. So the second half of this month is gonna suck, but it's fine. Okay, so we did one hard prompt. Now let's do the challenge prompts. So those are random challenges. They all look a little bit different. I don't think we've hit one yet in this game, so you'll see kind of what they are once we eventually hit one, but we need 6 of those as well. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, so the first number we're going to have for that is 2. Okay. So these are blue, so we'll put one on 2. And 11. And 10. And 22. It's not making me feel better about this little space here. And 4. We already have one on 24. Alright, spot 1. It's not actually possible for me to hit spot 1. So I don't know if this is cheating or not, but it's okay. Alright, so then we have free spaces and TBR Treat. So we'll start with the free spaces. So for this one, I get 2. Oof, only 2 free spaces. Okay, so our first free space, which means I can choose any book that I want, is space 17. Okay. And we already have one on 21. And 8. All right. Well, they're good and spaced out. That could be a good thing. All right, and then for TBR Treats, I did decide to up the number of books. So, like, in order to receive a TBR Treat, I decided to do for every 10 books I read, I get a TBR Treat. So I have read, like, 41 books so far this year, and since I am letting them, like, accumulate until I use one, and I haven't used one yet, so I'm going to have 4 of them. So I decided to use a random number generator for this too. I was just like placing them wherever I wanted, but I think it's just more randomized if I use the random number generator. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so for our first TBR Treat, we're going to put it on space 14. Okay. And 15. Okay. Already have one on 24. All right, and 12. Okay. Okay, so we have a very high chance of hitting one on this row. That could be good. Already have one on 14. Already have one on 2. 29. Okay. I feel like the chances of hitting that are pretty slim, but we'll see. Oh, that was 4. Okay, so we're done there. So those are our TBR Treats. Those are all of our spots. I decided to go with the little squirrel this month as my mover. But I need to do the punishment thingies. Okay, so we need a wheel. So let me grab my wheel app. So I created this punishment wheel, which basically I will either be removing good spots or adding bad spots. So I did not finish 3 books off my TBR, which is awful. March was just such an awful month. So I need to spin this wheel 3 times, which makes me very nervous. But first spin, here we go. Remove a free choice space. Okay, so this one I am going to let myself just kind of remove whichever one I want. And I think I'm going to remove 17. I don't know why I feel like I should remove this one. I don't really have a reason, but that's the one that I feel like we should remove. So we're going to remove that one. And hopefully I don't land on spot 17 and then regret it. But it's okay. All right, so that is one punishment wheel. Second punishment wheel. Oh, remove a TBR treat. Okay, I'm gonna remove 29 because I really think that the chances of me hitting that are so slim that it won't matter. And now that I've said that, I'm probably going to hit it, but it's okay. All right, last punishment wheel spin. I don't know what I'm hoping for. I don't really want to have to add a bad spot, but I also don't really want to take away another good spot, and there's so many bad spots already. I don't know what I'm hoping for. Remove my other free choice space. Okay, so we have no free choice spaces this month, so that is fun. That means every space is going to have a prompt. Awesome. Cool. All right, so we're gonna use 2 die to actually move our space and see where we end up. I am very, very nervous for this. All right, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that puts us on spot 8, which is just a regular TBR picture prompt. All right, I can work with that. A 3-word title. Okay, that doesn't sound too difficult. That should be okay. 3-word title. All right, and then we're gonna put that off to the side so I remember what it was. And we will roll again. 2. All right, 1, 2. All right, we hit a challenge spot. I'm like partly excited about this because we haven't hit a challenge spot yet, but also like really, really nervous because some of the challenges are really intense. So this is my challenge jar. I don't know if it'll focus. There we go. All right, so let's see what we get. I don't really even remember what I put in here, which makes me a little bit nervous. All right. Oh, please focus. Choose 2 hard prompts. Ugh. Okay, so when I made this, I'm not really sure if I was thinking choose 2 hard prompts and choose 2 books, or try to find a book that matches 2 different hard prompts. I feel like I could let that go either way. Because either way, it's kind of like a challenge. Either I have to add 2 books, or I have to find a book that matches 2 different hard prompts. Okay, so we're going to put this down, and then we are going to put this back. And grab the hard prompts. All right, so we have to choose 2. So first one. All right, a second chance author. So this is an author that I didn't necessarily like the first time. Okay, that is hard for me because I don't tend to give authors second chances very often. All right. Okay, so second chance author. Add that, and then we need to add a second one. So we'll see if I can find a book that combines the 2, or if I have to choose 2 different books. An author with the same last initial as you. Okay, well that takes out the author that I was thinking for the second chance author. So I don't know that we're going to be able to combine these. All right, roll number 3. Ugh, another 2. Okay, 1, 2. But it's a TBR treat. That's actually fantastic. Okay, TBR treat. We haven't had one of these either yet. So these are all books that are on my TBR, but I don't own. And I really want to read them. So I'm really excited about this, but also really nervous. And I hope it's one that I'm like really excited about. Uprooted. Okay. All right. Some some fantasy in there. I was kind of excited about this one. I was really excited about this one actually. So yeah, that's actually not bad. And now I get to buy it this month. And it's a standalone. So that's even better because then I don't feel like I have to buy the whole series, which is good because I definitely can't do that. At least I'm pretty sure it's a standalone. Don't quote me on that. All right, roll number 4. 9. All right, so we're getting some big numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we get a hard prompt. Awesome. Cool. Love that. All right. Another hard prompt. We're just going to take the one on top. Maybe it won't be so bad. TBR Vet. Okay, so something that's been on my TBR for a really long time. That actually might not be that difficult. Okay. All right, roll number 5. This could potentially be the last roll, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, look at that. Literally the last roll. Okay, so now we need to roll our end spot wheel. So let me screen record again. All right, so we have end spot. Free choice. I took away all my free choice spots and I still got a free choice in the end. That is fantastic. I love that. Okay, so I think this was a pretty good game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 books if I can't get 1 book for those 2 hard prompts. I feel like that's good since I wanted to slow it down in April. I am pretty happy with the way that this turned out. Okay, so the game is over and it was actually really nice to me considering we landed on a challenge spot, we landed on multiple hard prompts, and we had to take every single free choice spot off the board. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. We got some fun variety in it. Last month we got almost all picture prompts, which was a little bit boring. So we got some more variety this month, but it wasn't so challenging that I feel like I can't accomplish this month's TBR. So the first roll that we got ended up on just a regular picture prompt, and that is the only picture prompt that we got the entire game. And luckily it was a very broad prompt and it was just 3-word titles. The book that I chose for a 3-word title is The Love Hypothesis. This is by Ali Hazelwood and it is a fake dating adult workplace type of romance, I think. I know that it's about a PhD candidate and she doesn't believe in love and her best friend does, and so she ends up deciding to like experiment a little bit and she's fake dating this, I think he's a professor. I also know that this is supposed to be like kind of based off of like Star Wars and Adam Driver. So I'm mildly intrigued. I don't actually really like the new Star Wars movies personally, but I'm not gonna let that take away from this book. I still think that it could be a good book and it could be a fun rom-com, so we're gonna see how it goes. I hope it's really good. The next roll was a challenge spot and it was definitely not the most challenging challenge that I have in that jar, but it was still kind of challenging and I had to tweak it a little bit. So I ended up with a challenge spot that said I needed to choose 2 hard prompts, and I think my intention with that when I created it was to have to combine them into 1 book, but that was absolutely impossible with the 2 prompts that I chose. I had a really hard time finding a book that matched both of those prompts, so I ended up choosing 2 books and using that as kind of like this challenge feature of having to choose 2 books with 1 roll, and both of them being hard prompts. So the first hard prompt was Second Chance Author, and I chose Riley Sager. He also wrote Lock Every Door, and I didn't love that one. I did not like it, but it wasn't like my favorite thriller. I didn't think that this author was going to become a favorite of mine, and I wasn't really sure if it wasn't that I was like, I don't want to read anything else by him. It was more, I don't really care if I read anything else by him. But I had bought this one at the same time because I was anticipating really liking him, so we're going to give it a shot. Maybe I will like this one better. This one I don't know a whole lot about other than there's some sort of like, I don't know if it's a haunted mansion or just like a mysterious, dark and creepy mansion. Something to that effect. That's really all I know about it. I don't really want to know a whole lot more. I feel like I knew too much about Lock Every Door and that might have taken away some of the mystery behind it. So I'm kind of trying to go into this one as blind as I possibly can. So we'll see how it goes. All right, and then for the same role, the second hard prompt was an author with the same last initial as you, and my last name starts with an M. So I decided to go with Sarah J. Maas. I am buddy reading this series right now with one of my friends. We are about halfway through ACOTAR, so we're gonna be on A Court of Mist and Fury through April. So I figured I would be nice to myself and add this book to the list so that I was already gonna read it, and now I don't have to worry about another book and having my TBR be super, super long. So I am really, really excited about this. It is one of my favorite series and one of my favorite authors, so no worries on that one. And it fits a whole bunch of Readathon prompts, so that is great. The next roll we got was a TBR Treat. It is my first TBR Treat that we have hit in this game, and I am so ecstatic about this roll. So basically, a TBR Treat means that I get to purchase a book off of my Goodreads TBR that I don't already own, and I'm so excited because I have been not on a book buying ban, but buying significantly less books lately for lots of reasons, but I'm really, really excited to be able to allow myself to purchase this book, and that is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I actually don't know anything about this series or this book other than it's got a dragon in it, and the dragon like kidnaps, I think, just girls or people, somebody, to come serve him for like 10 years or something. That's all I really know about it. I actually put this on my Goodreads TBR because I wanted to read her other book that's like a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. So I just put both books on there. I think they're the only two books she's ever written. I don't know. They had really similar covers, and I just put them both on there because I liked the covers of both. I don't think they're actually related at all, but I am really, really intrigued in this one. So I'm really excited to be able to buy it and be able to read it this month. And it's fantasy, so it should fit some Readathon prompts. I don't know if it's romance, but I'm kind of hoping it is because then it'll hit more prompts and be more up my alley, so we'll see. Next roll was another hard prompt. So this one was a TBR vet, and that is something that has been on my TBR for a long time, and I actually had a little bit of trouble with this one. I tend to kind of read books as I buy them. I don't keep books on my shelf for very long without reading them because I don't buy a ton all at once usually. So that being said, I did end up choosing a book that I don't own but got from the library a couple of weeks ago. Haven't read it yet, but it has been on my Goodreads TBR for the longest. It is the first book that I put on my Goodreads TBR when I started that list, back when I started BookTube or around that time, and that is The Night Circus. This is by Erin Morgenstern, and I actually don't know anything about it other than it's about a circus, and I'm pretty sure it's magical realism. And I don't want to know anything else. I really like the fact that I have gone so long without knowing anything about this book other than I like the vibe behind it, and that's what's drawing me in. I have heard that it's pretty atmospheric, and I really, really like atmospheric writing, so I'm really excited about that, but I don't know anything about the characters. I don't know what the plot is. I don't want to know. I want to go in blind. I'm really excited about this because I also really, really, really want to read her other book, The Starless Sea. I have actually heard that that one's better, but I'm afraid to read that one first in case it is better. I'd rather read this one first instead of being disappointed later. And then we hit the last roll, and this last roll was so nice to me. At the beginning of the game, because of my punishment wheel, I had to take off every single free spot of the board, and then I ended up getting a free choice at the very end, and that was so nice. So I ended up being very nice to myself and chose A Court of Wings and Ruin because I know in April we will read probably the entire ACOTAR series, but we will at least get through the next two. So I decided to be very nice to myself because March was such a difficult reading month for me. I wanted April to be better. So really, really excited about this book. We'll probably read the whole series, but at least this one will be on my TBR, and it'll count towards two things, and it will count towards a bunch of prompts for Readathon. Alright, so that is everything that I have to read this month for my TBR game, but I do have a few other books that I am hoping to read this month for Readathon, so I'm gonna share a few of those with y'all now. Okay, so the first two books are probably no surprise. I am hoping to finish the last two books in the ACOTAR series. My friend and I are rereading the whole series. I think we can do it in a month. I'm pretty sure I can do it in a month, so we'll see. I don't know that I'm going to get to this one in April, but we'll see. I'm gonna put them both on there because both of them would give me so many points for Readathon that it would be so helpful, so I'm gonna do my best. The next book I'm hoping to read is another library book, so I probably need to read this one kind of early because I do need to return it at some point, but that is Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb. I don't know anything about this other than it was the only Robin Hobb book my library had, and when I went to the library I wanted something adult fantasy, and my library does not have a good collection of adult fantasy at all. They don't even carry any Brandon Sanderson or anything like that, but I've heard really good things about Robin Hobb. I don't know if this is her best book or the one that you should start with. I'm fairly confident it's not part of a series. I don't know if it's part of a world. Couldn't tell you, but I know there's a dragon on the cover and I've heard good things about the author, so that's what we're rolling with. April is the month of rereads and blind books. That is where we're going with this. The next two books that I am hoping to read in April to help me out with Readathon is The Prison Healer and The Gilded Cage. This is, I think it's a series. I don't know if it's a duology or if there's going to be more, but so far there are only 2 books. I have read the first one, so the first one will be a reread, but I really liked it and I really want to read the second book. The first book follows our main character and she is in a prison as both a prisoner and a healer, and she is working in the healing place when the rebel queen is brought in. She has been captured and she has been sentenced to the trial by ordeal, which no one has ever survived, but the rebel queen is completely unconscious when she comes in, so obviously she cannot participate in the trial. So our main character decides to take her place and go through the trials, even though the chances of her surviving are pretty much 0 so far. So really good. It's like a cross between Red Queen and the Hunger Games almost. Not really. I'm not really sure where Hunger Games came from in that, but it has a lot of Red Queen vibes, which is really interesting because I did not like Red Queen at all, but I really enjoyed this book. So Red Queen vibes, but better in my opinion. All right, that is my April TBR. I am super excited for this month. March was such a hard month for me that I am just so hopeful that April is going to be better. I do have my spring break, my 25th birthday is coming up in April. Like, a lot of things are happening, but a lot of good things are happening, so hopefully the reading is also a good thing that happens. But if you're interested in seeing the books that I did manage to read in March, or joining me as I read the books for Readathon, I'm going to try to do at least one reading vlog for that in April. Please hit that subscribe button and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!
Oh my love, you're such a fragile thing, I know. And with the winter